Hello. We just missed the morning. I was going to say good morning. Hello, everybody. Guerilla Hockey with JJ and Jesse. That's JJ. I'm Jesse. We're back Tuesday afternoon. Stanley Cup Final Game 5 tonight. Lots of fun, interesting stuff. How you doing, sir?
Fantastic. Tuesday. Not much to speak of on a Tuesday, right? It's just like one of those days.
You know what I love about
get
Tuesdays?
What?
I get to see you.
Oh,
See you right here in the studio.
thanks, Jesse.
That was a much nicer thing than he thought I was going to say, probably. Last time we talked, we didn't know if we'd be back talking about another Stanley Cup Final game, but that is what we've got. We've got some teams launching rebrands. We got all kinds of stuff going on. Despite it being near the end of the season, you made the point last show. It's not the off season yet. We're heading to the draft next week. We'll be at the Sphere. We'll be there for the awards and the draft.
You know what's exciting about the draft, especially if you're a Colorado Avalanche fan? I'm pretty sure everyone in the media is going, at least from the Colorado media, is going to Vegas and is going to be a part of that draft. So, I mean, you're going to get coverage left and right. You're going to get probably a little bit of a repetitive coverage, but from your high-quality video standpoint, we're going to be giving you all the best coverage.
All the best coverage, and we're gonna get some of the other folks involved that are going out there.
Stinking pillow.
The pillow again. We're gonna have a sweet little studio set up out there in a room right near the Sphere, so it should be fun. I'm really looking forward. Is this your first draft?
Yeah,
dude. It's. I was telling Mark yesterday. I don't know if you can hear me, but I was telling Mark, I was like, it's day 2 is chaotic, and you know how Mark is. Like, he likes to have everything set, and I was like, there's not going to be a lot set on day 2. But I'm looking forward to it, and great location.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be in Las Vegas. It'll be my 3rd time in Las Vegas, 2 of which have been with you.
Hey,
so
nice. You've only been to Vegas 3 times. For the gambler you are. That's surprising.
Yeah, I agree. It is surprising. But we're going to be there in the middle of the summer in Vegas. Not exactly the ideal time, but we're going to be there with ideal people. It's going to be fun. Plus, last time we were there, Hannah was there with us.
Yep.
Maybe we couldn't quite go as ham as we would have liked to. This time, she's not going to be there. We're going ham.
I hadn't really considered what you just said about not maybe a super ideal time to be there weather-wise.
Yeah, the other time I was there, I think, was in July, the time I was there without you, and I felt like the soles of my shoes were melting on the sidewalk.
Sticking to the sidewalk.
They weren't actually, but it felt like they were about to.
Thankfully, there are a lot of places to like duck out. Let's see. I'm pulling up the weather.
Yeah, I mean that's what makes Vegas
right
possible, right? Is the invention of air conditioning, the invention of cooling. Oh gosh.
Okay, so we're gonna be there Wednesday through Saturday. The low while we're out there is 82.
And that's like the middle of the night?
The high on Wednesday is going to be 112.
112?
High on Thursday, 112. High on Friday, 110. High on Saturday, 109.
How do you even combat heat like that?
You go inside.
You have to go inside, and you got to gamble your money.
Or the pool.
The pool, yes. As little clothing as possible, right?
I was going to say, get me in that pool. Actually, we haven't even started talking about hockey stuff. Public pools kind of gross me out the older I get.
We're talking about the draft. That's kind of hockey
stuff.
All
right. Yeah, this counts.
I hear you. They definitely gross me out, too. It's like, sure, the chlorine and all the chemicals that they put into the pool help disinfect it, but like, would you share a bath with 25 other strangers? No.
Well, and like, this is one of those instances
it's
too.
It's a giant bath.
Totally. And I'm not even talking about like little kids. Like, I don't want to be in there with all these drunk adults sweating and pissing themselves and running to the bathroom to puke because you're in the water for a little bit too long. And dude, so here's
I'm weird on people's feet. Right, and that's the part that grosses me out. You're just swimming in the same water that people are just sitting there with their feet. Like,
see, my head doesn't go there for the pool, but all right, I get that. I can see that. Yeah, you're not wrong.
But in 112-degree heat, you're like, screw it.
I'll get it.
Feed me all day.
defeat me. Oh, damn it. You just said something that made... Oh, here's the craziest part to me about Vegas. I'm 32 years old now. You know, when I was younger, we went to... It's easy and it's cheap to get to Vegas. Barclay Goodrow on waivers right now. It's easy and cheap to get to Vegas from Denver. Southwest, Frontier, if you want to take Frontier. There's a lot of cheap airlines that are like hubbed out of here that just fly 20 times a day to Vegas. So like when we were young, 21, 22, 23, we'd take, no bullshit, $15 or $20 Frontier flights from Denver to Vegas. As long as you took a backpack that could go under the seat, you didn't have to pay for a bag. So it was, a bunch of 21-year-old kids. We would all just take a backpack for the weekend. And so we'd go for super cheap. It was a ton of fun. I didn't realize how young you look at 21. When I was there for the All-Star game last year, I was there 2 years ago? Last year. I was there by myself, just for work. And I saw this group of, it was probably like 5 to 7, just like a group of boys, the boys hanging out. Like, who's watching these kids? How are they allowed to just be wandering around by themselves? Kept kind of going. Saw another group. I was like, what the hell is going on here? And then I went up to get a drink at the bar, and I saw the sign behind the bar that said, born on this day or later. I believe it was last year. So it said 2001. And I had like the... Oh, my God. Those weren't children at all. Those were 21-year-olds here to gamble and get drunk. Like loose children just in the wild.
And that was you one day.
And that was me. That was me at several points in my life. So that's the part that's crazy about Vegas now to me, is going there and seeing people that are 11 years younger than me being able to enjoy Vegas. And it's really more of like I can't believe I'm 32. I turned 21 11 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to see people who not only do they not remember the first Avs Stanley Cup, but the second one either. Yeah. The 2022 Cup is the only cup they remember. That's wild.
Not only do they not remember it, they weren't here for
there.
it.
How could they remember it?
But it's going to be fun, dude. Like I'm looking forward to going to Vegas. I'm looking forward to seeing the Sphere from inside.
Do you remember? I mean, because you're 3 years younger than me. Do you remember the first cup?
I do. I remember the first cup. I remember celebrating the first cup with my family. We had just moved to Denver the year before. I was a little kid, but I remember celebrating and being excited about it. I very, very, very clearly remember the second one, and that whole run.
Sure.
Yeah. But no, I do. I remember flashes of the first one. It'd be a lie to be like, I remember Joe Sakic, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. But I remember them winning and it being exciting. Cool. It's the last in-person draft as well that we're heading to next week. They're going to the remote drafts like all the other leagues now, where everyone just stays at their team headquarters. So
that'll be fun. And as you're seeing in a lot of the, I guess, social media of the national pundits, when the national media gets together, things get wild. Yeah. Things get a little crazy. So that's how it's going to be, especially in Vegas, the last hurrah of the in-person draft. Plus, we're going to be there to turn it up an extra notch.
We'll have to go find Party Boy. Very few people know who I'm talking about.
Very few.
The relative to that, the media all being together, the reason I'm upset that they're going to a remote draft after this year is because I also feel like getting all the executives together causes stuff to happen, and you get trades and deals and movement on stuff, and that's the part that I think is the most fun about a week like this, is getting to go there and like the entire hockey world,
the who's who,
is going to be in Vegas next week. Everyone that's with teams,
anyone who's anyone's gonna be in
Vegas.
That's why we're
gonna
be there. No, that sounds like a blast. I can't wait.
And yeah, it's gonna be a ton of fun, and I think it's gonna be extra big because this is the last time they're doing it. I'm looking forward to it, and none of this was even what I was planning on starting this show off with.
Well, that's fine.
Stanley Cup Final, Game 5 tonight. Did you watch Game 4, or how long did you make it into Game 4?
I kept it on the TV. It turned into background noise, about halfway through the second period once it was all said and done. So, not great if you're the Florida Panthers. It's funny to me, though. I think afterwards you heard them say our goal was to win one of these two games. We won one of these two games. And then the commentary from the Canadian crowd is, the Oilers figured it out.
Changes everything.
They're going to go on a run now. If they win tonight, that's going to be, which I agree. If they win tonight, there's a little bit of hope instilled. But I think one game when Florida was already like, we already got our goal accomplished here, isn't going to give that much life to a team that has shown very little life throughout the series so far.
Well, the point that I made yesterday was, and we saw it with the Boston Celtics last night, those types of games when you get blown out like that, those are easy to turn the page on. Because it's like, that clearly wasn't our game. That was such a bad blowout. They pulled Bobrovsky. Like, that was one where you could just tell. They were like, Can we just jump to the end? Instead of pulling Bobrovsky, can we just end the game?
That's one thought that stands out to me from that game is Anthony Stolarz getting some time in net, and I'm like, oh, good for him. So when you win the cup, you can actually feel like, hey, I played in that series.
I played in a Stanley Cup
Not only is
Final,
my name on there, because sometimes it's sad. The guys that get their name on the cup, but didn't really do anything for it, didn't really get to participate. Not in Anthony Stolar's case. A backup goalie is something that's very close to my heart as a lifelong backup goalie myself. I had a little fist pump for him there. Like, nice. He gets some time. Meaningless time.
Made a couple nice saves, too. Yeah. Gave up some goals, but made a couple nice saves. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight because I'm with you. Like, that to me, that's I actually saw an article today, TSN article. It said, can the Oilers replicate what they did in Game 4? And it's like, look, I'm not saying that they can't come out and play a good game and win and put some goals in. I'm not saying that. But, and admittedly, I didn't read the article. But the headline would suggest that the article is saying, can they score 8 again? That's pretty lofty to be going in tonight. Like, all right, boys, we saw what worked. 8 goals and we're good. I don't think that's the conversation being had in the Edmonton Oilers locker room. But like you said, it's funny to watch. There was a lot of Canadian media being like, is this going to shift it? Does the series completely change now? And maybe it does. We're going to find out tonight. How much are the Oilers able to build off that? How much are the Florida Panthers able to push back and kind of put the kibosh on it all?
And I think there's such a strong element of the let's get home and win this so we could celebrate at home, right? Versus having to win it in Edmonton and having to celebrate in Edmonton. Man, if I'm Florida, I'd so much rather be in South Florida winning the cup. You can hit such a fantastic nightlife afterwards. And
see, but I don't even know if that's necessarily it. I take what Nathan McKinnon said to us after they won the cup, and he said that there were 10 guys that were about ready to puke before Game 5.
At home.
Yeah. At home.
They were terrible that night.
They were horrible. I just think that first time you've got the chance to close it out, I just think it takes a lot of things coming together really, really right for you to be able to do that. And then especially, like I think you and I talked about it, that's a game that had Edmonton, like you and I kind of ripped them the other day when it was 3-0.
We've been ripping them the whole series.
The whole time, I know. But really, I made the comment of, if you're the Edmonton Oilers and you can't get up to play the best game of your playoffs when you're down 3-0 on home ice in a Stanley Cup Final, and I felt that way about the Mavs on the NBA side as well. If you can't get up for that game, you probably don't deserve to be in the finals. So the Dallas Mavericks did it for their Game 4. They lost last night, but they did it. The Edmonton Oilers did it. They pushed back. They did their job.
Well, to your point on Nathan McKinnon's quote there, Florida had that chance in Game 4, right? We heard even that the families showing up and everybody kind of getting ready for a potential celebration kind of got in their heads a little bit. Well, that's out of the way now. Yeah. You got that game out of the way. Now it's okay, now we can refocus and actually get the job done this time. The butterflies aren't quite so intense.
Maybe you see the plastic stacked up outside the locker room just in case.
Maybe boxes of hats.
Maybe hats. Maybe you see some coolers with champagne. You know, I don't know. I just have to imagine. I know if I was in that situation, one, the pressure of being able to sweep, because regardless of what round you're in, that is a pressure. Like, ooh, we're up 3-0. Can we close this out and just get it done? Trying to do that in Edmonton, and then trying to do it with everything that you and I just talked about, like just knowing, like, everyone flew into town. They have the ballroom at the hotel booked. There's a lot of pressure there. Like you said, go back home, collect yourself, going tonight. I will be glued to the TV tonight.
I think it's done tonight.
Okay,
and I'm also taking the under.
I those are two bets. So I took 3 bets the other night for Game 4. Draisaitl over on shots. Oilers first to 5 shots. Did I tell you this already?
No.
And then I put 5. It was a plus 450 pregame, and I put $5 on it. And I had a feeling it wasn't going to hit because I had a feeling the Oilers were going to win. Those first 2 hit, and then I put $5 on Panthers to win after trailing. Because I said, well, if they win this game, it's going to have to be a pushback. But I almost took the over because it was at 5.5. And in my head, I said, well, I think the Oilers win, and if the Oilers win, it's probably on an offensive outburst. But I was too much of a weenie, and I didn't do it. And I should have. The under feels right for a game like tonight.
The bets that hit that you don't take sting so much more than the bets that you lose. I say that all the time.
Yep.
There's nothing worse than being like, oh, I knew I should have taken that.
Yeah.
I had the Panthers plus 1.5. Good. But no, I'm liking what I've got lined up for tonight.
For tonight, yeah. Like I said, I'm looking forward to this one because that Game 4 just felt like that played out the way it probably should have.
I mean, Shania Twain in the building. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, hold on. That just reminded me. Connor McDavid's socks. Did you see the picture of? Oh, I think it's Shania Twain, Connor McDavid, and some other dude.
Yeah, they're complete. They're
disgusting.
Yeah, they're gross.
Like, it just leads into the more into why I'm not a big fan of McDavid. Like, just be a superstar. Don't be some grungy, nasty dude. And his beard looks terrible.
Yeah, his beard doesn't look great. But the socks are weird. His toes are all poking out and all that stuff. Yeah, the socks are weird.
I'm out on that.
I'm anxious to be able to kind of look at this series retrospectively whenever it does end. I have a lot of thoughts on the Panthers. There was someone in our comments the other day saying, I want to hear more about how good the Panthers are. And that's one thing that, again, that whole first show right before the Cup Final, you and I talked about how undervalued and underappreciated this Florida Panthers team really seems to be, especially on the national level, because they are deep. Their commitment to forechecking and team defense is outstanding. Bobrovsky's been phenomenal. That was part of the reason why that Game 4 was a little disappointing, just because the Oilers played well, but there was just so much about that game that was like, once it got to a certain point, it was just kind of like didn't feel like a Stanley Cup Final game. Not unlike the way that the Avs 7-0 drubbing of the Lightning 2 years ago. By the end of that, it was like, well, that didn't really feel like a Cup Final game. So I'm anxious for tonight.
Yeah, I really like your point of how those are the easy games to turn the page on, right? If they lose a heartbreaker, they lose in overtime, that's something they're really like thinking about for the next few days. One like that, it's just like, oh, that was a stinker.
Well,
Move on.
And if you got, like, had they gotten, like, they got outplayed, obviously. But if it was one of those where suddenly Edmonton's turning the tide and Edmonton is stifling the forecheck and they're kind of all over them, and if it was a game where it really felt like Florida did good things, Florida played well, and they just got beat, and they got beat in a close game, and they couldn't generate anything. Let's maybe say it's 2-1. They're trying to close a gap, and there's just nothing, and Edmonton gets the empty netter. Well, suddenly you're sitting there and saying, ugh, maybe that's repeatable for the Oilers. They just saw what worked. Again, I'm not saying that the Oilers couldn't win another game 8-1. That's obviously possible. But I just don't think on either sides of the puck you're going to end up with that kind of disparity where you can say, like, oh, man, they might have figured something out here. If you're the Panthers saying, hey, that was as off of a night as you can get, wasn't our night, everything went well for them,
it's the human element of sports come into play, right? That's why sometimes betting can be difficult because you forget to take things like that into account. You're just purely looking at lineup versus lineup, X's versus O's, and you're like, oh, well, I think this is the better team. You forget that there are instances where being a human being plays a role.
Matters. Yeah, absolutely. You're right, and I think that's a lot of what we saw play out in Game 4. We were talking about the nerves and all that stuff, the expectations.
Yep.
That game's tonight, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. I know I'll be watching, and we'll see what we've got to talk about tomorrow. Let's move on a little bit here. This one, I think, could potentially tie into the Avs. This may be something that we revisit a couple times over the summer. Rumors starting to swirl today. Jeff Skinner may be bought out by the Buffalo Sabres this summer. If that were to come to fruition, that's a guy that I know I've talked about in the past as potentially being a fit for the Avs. I guess just face value, it's been real up and down for Jeff Skinner in his career. Has yet to play in an NHL playoff game despite having over 1,000 regular season games played. JJ,
how old is he?
How old?
Yep.
Jeff Skinner, 92 birthday. Same as your boy. He's 32 years old.
Too old. So...
Hold on.
Okay.
Not this past season, the season before, 82 points, 35 goals in 79 games. This year, 24 goals, just 46 points.
Right. That's where I was going. Jeff Skinner from 3-4 years ago, I think I'd be on board. Jeff Skinner from 7-8 years ago, I'd be like, abso-freaking-lutely. But I think we've seen such a decline in who Jeff Skinner is, and he's no longer that, wow, he's such an agile skater. The rest of the league is kind of caught up to him, right? Like, I feel like when he first came in the league, his skating was revolutionary. Everybody was like, wow, this might be one of the best skaters. He used to be a figure skater, so he understands it a little bit differently. I think the rest of the league caught up to him from that standpoint. I don't know if he exactly presents such a great opportunity to get a steal, but, I mean, if you're looking for depth, you need some not only leadership, but somebody who can really put some points up on the stat sheet. I think he'd be a good option.
Well, and here's what's difficult about Jeff Skinner, though, because like I look at that and say, okay, if you're talking about a guy getting bought out, you go back to last year, Matt Duchene was bought out, signed for about $2 million. Jonathan Drouin wasn't bought out, but he was definitely on a, can this guy still play? A show me type of deal. He signs for right about league minimum. I look at Jeff Skinner and I'm saying, yeah, if you're talking somewhere between league minimum and 2.2, sure. If you're the Avs, I'm with you. That's a great potential depth add that could flex up your lineup on the wall if need be. 3 straight. So in 21-22, 33 goals. In 22-23, 35 goals. And this past year, 24. So a bit of a drop-off. But, I mean, those are productive years.
I'd take it, yeah.
Those are productive years. So I'll be curious to see if he gets bought out, what kind of money is he going to sign for? And would he be interested in, a team like the Avs maybe taking a little bit less to say, I know I'm going back to the playoffs, or I'm going to the playoffs.
It's tough at that age, though, right? Because you're not necessarily trying to take a one-year deal at that point in your career. So I could see an Anaheim or, one of the lower feeder teams that have a little bit of cap space being able to offer him a little bit more term. But I'm curious as to the relationship there with Middlestat, right? Because if there's something good that they had together, especially if it's on ice, Middlestat's on the phone saying, hey, remember how terrible we thought Buffalo was as a city? Well, Denver is so much better. You got to come hang out. Because we know how he felt about that whole thing.
So keep in mind now, with at that age, is he going to want to take a 1-year deal? Do you know what his? I actually thought I knew it was high. I thought it was a little bit less than this. Do you know what his current cap hit is?
No, I don't.
9.
Woof.
$9 million a year for Jeff Skinner. So keep in mind, if he's bought out, that deal goes through the 26-27 season. So it's 24. So he's got this upcoming year plus 2 more. So if he does get bought out, like he's going to have half a decade worth of financial security coming from the Sabres, where they're still paying him several $1 million.
So you're saying that as like,
if I'm him,
he might be willing to take a lot less, significantly less, because he's still getting paid.
He's still getting paid. So if I'm Jeff Skinner and I've played 1,000 NHL games and I've never even sniffed the Yoffs.
Has he not?
No, he never played a playoff game.
Not even with Carolina?
Not played a playoff game. 1,000 NHL regular season games, has not played in a playoff game. If I'm him and I get bought out, I would take a 1-by-1 to go to a team like Colorado, like Florida, like watch Vegas be the ones that do it. But, to say, like, I'm going to the playoffs. I'm playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, at some point in your career, you do kind of start to be like, you know what? The competitive part of me is maybe wearing out a little bit. I'm just here for the money, make sure the rest of my days are nice and secure. But when you have 0 playoff games, I think that overrides everything.
I think it could potentially even breed the opposite of what you're just talking about. Right. I don't care about the money.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to win some games.
That's where I was headed. Yeah.
And so again, if that's the mindset, that's the mentality. I think the parallel you draw to Casey Middlestat is a great point. If that's the case, I think that's absolutely a team that the Avs should be, or a player the Avs should be looking at. I will be interested to see what he wants to do money wise, though.
Yeah, I think if there's one thing I've learned from my time covering the team, is that any GM, any team kicks the tires on everything.
Everyone.
So they're at least inquiring, doing their due diligence, and putting some feelers out there.
Putting them feelers out. All right, let's move on.
Was that just spur of the moment, or were you actually referencing something?
No, that was just an original. I whistle in the press box a lot. I just walk around kind of, and I walk.
That's the tune you always hit.
What is it?
Do 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 do. Remember, because I thought you were singing the Up song, and we had a whole long discussion. I was like, no, you're definitely singing the Up song. Well, so the song from Up.
That's where this was going. Is I just kind of walk around just whistling, like just generic, just whatever melody pops in my head. This one day, JJ was like, "No one whistles just original music," and I was like, I don't know. So yeah, that was all just
putting some feelers out.
That could be our. Like if we had a sitcom, that would be when it goes to commercial.
Oh, I wish we had a laugh track on this show.
Jay, get working on that. All right, let's talk about a couple things something that you and I find interesting. We have one rebrand that I want to talk about, and then one we actually got the full temporary brand package. So Utah, go ahead and pull up that bottom one there. Utah does release their official year 1 branding. Now, I do want to mention Utah HC is still in the running. They've narrowed the list down to 6 possible team names. Utah HC is among the finalists for what the team's permanent name could be. JJ, what do you think of the branding?
I'm looking up if mountain blue is an actual color, because when I think about the mountains, I don't necessarily think blue.
Okay.
So let me look at that real quick.
I like the color palette, honestly. Seattle, I think, got it right with the powder blue and then the dark navy. But I like the black.
Okay, so I was right. So like I like to paint every once in a while, right? And sometimes the paint colors have like real crazy names, like mountain blue. So I'm like, all right, is that an actual color, or are they just making something up? It's not an actual color. I do like the choice, though. I do like the blue that they took. And if you have the right hue and a little bit of snow, like there's a little bit of blue coming off of mountains. So I'll take the color choice. I do like that. I'm with you.
Yep. And then, so these are the jerseys that they're going to wear. We got the jerseys queued up too. Real basic. And again, they're going with, they don't know what the team name is going to be. These actually came out better than what I was expecting when they said they were just going to wear like generic Utah jerseys.
Those look like men's league jerseys to me.
For sure.
Very simple.
I like the black one, though. I like the striping on the black
and a white one. Kind of a little boring to me.
Yep.
Maybe lean into the blue a little bit more, but I like the idea of the blue. I think that's what's really catching my interest, I guess. It's not a color that you see all that often, right? It's not just a regular red.
It's unique for the league.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the full branding? I won't lie. I actually really liked all of these until we were sitting here doing this and I was staring at them, and they look cheaper and cheaper the longer I sit here staring at them.
And man, is Utah, I mean, the only state more boring to put behind your name is Colorado or the perfect square, maybe Wyoming. But Utah is just a bunch of right angles, kind of snoozer.
Yeah.
The state itself, anyway.
And I mean, I guess you don't have an official mascot, so there's nothing really to.
Well, they're apparently leaning into the mountains. They're leaning into the snow. Maybe include some of that somewhere.
Yeah. Do you not think that's just going to make, like, Avs fans are going to be so pissed if they start doing that?
Oh, well, great. Let's create a rivalry.
I'm with you. Yeah.
It's fun.
I said that tweet the other day. I think there's going to be a great rivalry. I'm really curious to see what they do next.
They should put a footprint of a Yeti on their shoulder.
Because Yeti is one of their name finalists.
Yep. And I saw a lot of people throwing fits about, you can't do that. You can't. The Avalanche already have the Yeti. Where?
Well, and I actually did say, I think I was telling Jay last week that if Utah does end up doing the Yeti, that actually might be good because it would force the Avs fans to move on from the Yeti foot.
The Avalanche organization has already moved on.
Yeah.
The Yeti died when they got rid of Howler.
Well, so truthfully,
pour one out for Howler.
I don't want to make it sound like I did like crazy like journalistic work for this, but I asked around a couple times, why'd you get rid of the foot? It's such a popular logo. That hat Gabe Landeskog was wearing was sweet, the white hat with the foot. Like, it's a cool logo. Why'd you get rid of it? And literally, they said it had nothing to do with our team name. Like, our branding has nothing to do with a Yeti.
I don't know if I agree with that fully, right? I mean, a Yeti's a snow monster.
Is it?
Mythical, and
I guess the Yetis are different.
It lives in the snow.
Is a
right?
Yeti different than a Bigfoot?
Yes.
It is?
Yes. Right?
You answered awfully confidently.
Because I thought so at first until you said it is. Because what's the Pixar movie where there's a Yeti involved? Is it Monsters Inc?
Yeah.
And he lives in the snow. So, okay, there's an abominable snowman.
Yeah, right. Is that?
And then there's the Yeti.
Yes.
Are they the same thing? I don't know.
I think
we don't know.
I almost wonder if the abominable snowman and Bigfoot. I wonder if that's just like Yeti is like the overarching term for that.
And then their subcategories is Fuck, I hate that word abominable.
Abominable.
That was actually our me and Evan's men's league team is the Abominable Flow Men. And I can never say it. I don't love it. But yeah, I guess I'm curious as to. All right.
Yeti and Bigfoot are often considered related, but are distant mythical creatures originating from different cultural backgrounds and regions.
So they're cousins.
Yeti, also known as the Abominable Snowman, originates from the folklore of the Himalayan regions, particularly Nepal and Tibet. Described as a large ape-like creature covered in white or gray fur, often associated with high-altitude snowy environments.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah. So it absolutely has to do with avalanche.
Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, originates in North American folklore, especially among indigenous cultures in the Pacific Northwest, described as a large ape-like creature covered in dark brown or black fur, typically associated with forested mountainous regions. They're distinguished by their geographical and cultural contexts.
What about the cups? You don't want to get them confused with the cups.
Don't want to get them confused with the cups. So you're right. I don't know, man. You know, elevated, snowy, mountainous areas. And I guess I would say it ties in with the Avs.
What other creature could possibly survive an avalanche other than a giant
Yeti? You make a great argument, but like you said, when they got rid of Howler, the mascot, there was the only trace left of the Yeti foot was the shoulder patch. I think had they maybe ever done something more with the foot, they could have kept it. But just keeping it at the shoulder patch, I will agree, it probably didn't make a lot of sense.
Howler was so horrible that now he's great, right? I think back then you're like, what is that? This is the worst mascot I may have ever seen in my life. But if he was around in today's day and age, everybody would be like, this is fantastic. He rivals Gritty for weirdness.
I think if you brought him back like now, because I was told the reason they didn't bring him back is because focus group said kids didn't like it.
Oh, I thought it was because he assaulted somebody.
That was why the first one got fired, and that was why they didn't have a mascot for several years.
And back to my point. So the organization's willing to retire Howler, but not Rocky. Can we move on from Rocky?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'd love to get like a real diehard Nuggets fan to weigh in on that.
In that same note, though,
if any of you are in the chat right now are big Nuggets fans, let us know if you would be cool with them getting rid of Rocky, because it's not the original.
There's only one Rocky, and if the human inside Rocky is no longer inside Rocky,
there's a human inside Rocky.
The human spirit,
right?
In that same breath, Bernie's terrible.
Really? Oh, I think Bernie's great.
Awful.
Really?
So bad.
Why?
Because he just looks dumb.
Tongue
sticking out.
You don't like the...
I like the idea of the Saint Bernard. Like, I understand it.
But like, you're not criticizing the
guy
inside. Them as a mascot.
The human spirit inside.
You think
I just
sucks?
hate...
Or you think the mascot looks bad?
The mascot looks bad.
My dad has always hated it.
Yeah. Terrible.
A
dog in a hockey outfit. Like, come on. With his
tongue
hanging out.
I do appreciate the inventiveness of a Bernese Mountain Dog, an avalanche rescue dog.
Yeah.
I love the concept of that.
I do. I just think it was executed poorly.
Well,
I hope I don't catch hands from him, because we see him a lot when we're down in the tunnel after the games, and often get shoved aside by him and his crew so he can come and wave his flag.
He's got really big props that they're always moving in and out.
I do appreciate that he can skate. At least they get somebody in there who can skate.
Yep. That's shocking. I didn't know that you were vehemently anti-Bernie. I guess it's not shocking. I just didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm anti a lot of things, so it can't be that shocking. I'm what's known as a hater.
Yeah, he is. He is for sure. All right, we're winding down here. I got a quick little trivia for you.
Oh no.
Well, it's what we were talking about before. And then we do have another pack of hockey cards each that we're going to get opened up today. Oop, thank you for cutting to me. Pack of hockey cards we're going to get opened up today. I was asking the office this last week, because it was going around the Twitterverse a couple days ago last week. How many fluid ounces is the Stanley Cup? The bowl that sits on top of the Stanley Cup, not the entire thing if you were to fill it up. Do you have a guess? The bowl that sits atop the Stanley Cup, how many fluid ounces?
So
you could also tell me how many 12-ounce beers you think fit in there.
Well, that's where I was going, is the way my brain works is I'm like, how can I compute ounces and, make it make sense to me in my brain? Oh, yeah, I used to drink a lot of 40 ounces when I was in college. So the 40 ounce...
just get so warm, dude. They get so warm.
Well, if you drink it slowly, sure.
It's 40 ounces. That's just a lot of liquid.
I think it's, 3.5 beers? 40 ounces. So I'm like, I see that thing fitting 40 ounces.
Okay.
So my initial answer when you asked last week was 80 ounces, which I now know was way off. However, I don't remember exactly what it was, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm so smart and throw 160 out there, which I think might be in the ballpark.
Okay. So is that your guess, 160?
No, I'm sticking with 80 because that was my original.
Okay.
Even though I know it's wrong, I'm not going to pretend that I'm good at this.
I love the commitment.
Yeah.
We got a guess in the chat of 120. The answer is 17.4 beers for 209 fluid ounces.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of beers. That is bigger than I thought.
How many 40s is that?
To be honest,
That's
it's about 5. Yeah,
wow,
5 and
we
some
got a
change.
mathematician
Yeah,
back
who's
there.
back there? Jeez. Take it easy, Stephen Hawking. Holy smokes. So 209 fluid ounces, the bowl for the Stanley Cup.
540s will get you roasted.
Who was it? Was it Logan that last week goes, do you think anyone's ever drank a beer out of it? You never that's basically exclusively what's done with it is just getting as wasted as you can out of the top of it.
Yep.
Or eating something.
Shout out to my boy Jesse Trujillo, who got to do that the night of
did.
in the locker room.
Yeah.
I still have footage of it on my phone. That's what I think of for some reason when I think of drinking beer out of the cup. Jesse Trujillo.
Love it. Jesse Trujillo is a true hero.
Oh,
hey.
dang, that was good. I was like, where's he going with this?
I didn't really either. That came to my head at the last second. All right, let's get these opened up. Who do you want to cut to? Oh, me. All right, me first, I guess.
I'm not even going to touch mine.
Not going to touch yours yet?
Because we got yelled at last week for trying to do them
that's
at
right.
the same time.
We did get in trouble for that. Jay over here just making sure that
He wants this to be clean,
this
sharp,
is,
snappy. We're not just some ho-hum network here.
All right, here we go. These ones,
Ray Ferraro.
There's a cool one in here. These ones are from a couple seasons ago. I think we went over that. This is a Alex DeBrincat when he was still with the Hawks. Some maybe hurt feelings on that one. I got another cool shape one.
Wow, you got good luck with these.
This
We
is
got to get you more cards.
This is a cool Mitch Marner one. What does that even say? Big Ice. Big Ice. Mitch Marner. That's a cool one. Funky little shape.
I like
Zach
big
Jones.
ice.
Hey, Zach Jones. And there it is. Our first Avalanche pull. Cale Makar.
Hey, I know that guy.
Cale Makar pull right there. There you go.
That's a great pull, and it's got even like a flashy background
Backdrop to it. Alex Turcotte rookie card right there. That's a good one too. This is a nice pack right here. Matt Dumba still with the Wild, and then Teuvo Teravainen with the Hurricanes. Not a bad pull.
That's good.
That's probably the best one so far.
So far, yeah. I made the joke of having Ray Ferraro in there because when I was younger, I feel like he was in every single pack that I would ever open. I have 100 Ray Ferraro cards now. Let's see what I'm getting here. All right. Jonathan Marchessault.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's all right. Quinn Hughes.
Ooh, all right. Ooh, we pull a Quinn Hughes and a Cale
I got
Makar
a cool one.
day.
I got a cool one.
Now I'm anxious.
Be anxious. Planet Metal.
Ooh.
Patrick Kane.
Whoa! That's sick.
That's pretty metal.
That's super metal, I would even say.
I love that one.
That's a great
So yeah,
one, dude.
the rest is going to be less exciting. Scott Perunovich.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Cares. Cole Perfetti.
That's a good one.
Like it. Elvis Merzlikins.
Ooh, there's a Cole Perfetti rookie card, too.
And Mark's hero, Alex Ovechkin.
Nice. That's a good one.
Our second Alex Ovechkin, right?
Yeah,
or no, you didn't pull that one.
Yeah, I didn't pull that one. Yeah, we got that one separately. But yeah.
Heck yeah.
Right,
That
nice.
was a good one.
Those were two better packs than what we opened last time, for sure.
Agreed. Planet Metal. So what are our special ones? We got Planet Metal, Big Ice, and then we had Cheddar, which we realized today was actually on a picture of Swiss cheese. So they really crossed wires there. But I think Planet Metal is maybe my favorite one we got.
Me too. I love that. That's a cool shape. And the Cheddar one we got was like some role player with the Sharks. It's a Patrick Kane and a Mitch Marner on these ones.
Yeah, I'm curious why. So in my Planet Metal, there's a picture of Africa. You see the Mediterranean Sea, a little bit of Greenland and Europe. I don't know why they chose that as the backdrop.
Interesting part of the globe to pick. And then we did pull our first Avs card on these shows so far. Got the Cale Makar, a little bit shiny, a little bit of specialness to it. That's a fun one.
And we have a binder now, like you said.
We did, yeah. We got a binder so we can keep them all here. So these will all get added to the binder, and we'll keep doing this. We'll keep doing this as we find cards and as they come available, because that is the thing that I'm realizing the quickest is that these are hard to find. Like hockey cards in general.
Yeah, they obviously either the people who sell them, like Target, are not exactly keeping up on ordering more shipments and keeping their inventory high. So I think that's what makes them so hard to find. They're like, nobody buys hockey cards. What are we going to restock for?
Yeah. And then,
or maybe they're just limited edition because nobody buys hockey cards, that they don't make as many anymore, trying to save some money and still be profitable.
Upper Deck, it's next week is the Upper Deck NHL draft. So I'm hoping maybe there will be some.
I know
nice
they're trying to push digital versions on people. Yeah. I don't know a single person who's into that.
Well, so here's what's funny was last year when we went to the draft, Upper Deck in everyone's little goodie bags, there was a sheet of like perforated cards that you could rip off, and it was a bunch of players like in the years that they got drafted, their rookie years. And I have the sheet at home. And I was like, I know this is worth nothing, but is this something that like 20 years from now, it's like, whoa, that one came from the draft? I would love to know more about how a lot of this works and what makes cards valuable and stuff like that.
Yadun chimes in with the theory that maybe the guys that resell or really try to make a living out of this, maybe they just scoop it all up.
Buy them all up, yeah.
Very little left for the public.
Well, because that is what I'm finding so far is that when I'm going places looking for cards, they carry them, they're just sold out. And I'm also maybe learning and realizing that because, Matt, we got someone who works here who's big into these and he's gone to conventions and stuff like that before. It might just be like a hotter market than we realize, and they're getting scooped up quickly.
Maybe. But aren't these from 01
or
21?
Well, maybe that's why we were able to get them. I don't know. But
you'd think if they were from 21, they would have been bought 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Hey, like I said, I don't know how it works. Maybe that's what we can do this summer. We can
learn more about the underworld of card trading.
Yes. Let's get these added to the binder. Let's get out of here. I'm sorry. I did want to throw this one last question up. It came in. Do you guys have any insights on if the Avs are going to release a new jersey? I don't believe so. And the biggest reason why is there's only a couple teams, the Ducks, the Kings, and there's one other team that I believe has a third jersey in the works that are rolling out this year. Everyone else has been asked to wait at least one season because this is the year that it is switching from Adidas to Fanatics. I think a lot of the specs on the jerseys are staying the same under contract. It looks like maybe the dimples are going away on the shoulders just based on a couple of the like little teasers. And then obviously Utah is the other exception to that. But I believe this year the Avs are rolling with the same set of three that they have in recent years: home, away, and then the navy blue third. I always recommend Aesthetics as a good resource for this stuff. He does a great job. I'm going to throw up this right here. This page right here, he's on Instagram and Twitter. And he's also got a fantastic YouTube channel that you can go to where he breaks down all of this stuff, rumors, and he's usually pretty dialed in, and most stuff that he reports on is correct. So any questions about potential jerseys that the Avs can have for this year, check him out. I actually believe he does have a jersey preview video that is up where he talks on all 32 teams. So super interesting page. So go check him out. But no, I do not believe there are any jerseys in the works for the Avs. Anything else, JJ, for today?
No, I loved those jerseys from the 90s. They never were real jerseys. They were just jerseys for fans to buy that had the black.
I knew where you were going immediately.
If they could make a real version of that, it'd be so sick.
So same design as now. Would it be burgundy along the outside or blue?
I think the black and burgundy go so well together.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've heard me say it, dude. I think the colors should be burgundy and navy. I don't care for the really light electric blue. And I'm making that comparison because I like a dark navy, and if you did a black version, that'd be cool too.
Yeah.
I think it should be, what is it? Navy with a white stripe instead of a gray stripe, and then the burgundy, and the road ones you can keep the way that they are. The burgundy, gray, and white.
Cool.
That's it. Tuesday afternoon, Guerrilla Hockey with JJ and Jesse. We'll be back on, we should be back on Friday. We may have a minor programming change on Friday with some stuff that we got going here in the studio, but we should be back on Friday to talk more Avs. We have a couple more videos coming out, hopefully here over the next week. We'll have another mailbag this week, and then we'll be in Vegas next week, and we've got content planned for you guys every day. Should be super fun. Really looking forward to it. Big shout out, as always, to Jay running the board, making sure that you guys can see and hear us. And that's it. For JJ, I'm Jesse. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks so much for hanging out. See you later.